Hi, and welcome to Weeb Paradise, your double daily dose of anime movie recap. On today's recap, we are going to talk about Tokyo Godfathers, a 2003 Japanese animated tragicomedy adventure film written and directed by Satoshi Kon. Unusually for a Satoshi Kon film, Tokyo Godfathers contains no fantasy elements, nor does it explore themes of the lines between fiction and reality, instead being grounded more in realism, but Kon himself called it a twisted sentimental story. Be careful, this video contains spoilers, so if you are not ready, get ready. This movie begins with Jin, a middle-aged drunkard, Hana, a transgender lady, and Miyuki, a lonely young girl, digging through the trash for presents after a Christmas ceremony for homeless people in Tokyo, Japan. The action happens on Christmas Eve. Hana engages the help of the other two to find Miyuki's present, which she has hidden in the trash. While searching, Jin and Miyuki get into a fight, but they stop right away when they hear a baby screaming and find an abandoned newborn among the trash. Hana feels the baby is a gift from God, since she has always wanted to be a mother, but Jin warns them that the baby must be returned to her parents. Hana agrees, and they find clues in a diaper bag full of baby food, such as a picture of a couple and a vault key. A message requesting the unknown finder to take good care of the nameless baby, and a bag holding clues to the parents' identities are left with the unnamed baby. Hana names the newborn daughter Kyoko. Kyoko means pure kid, since she was discovered on Christmas Eve, which is regarded as the purest of all nights. They take Kyoko to their camp, and Hana takes Miyuki to the market to do shopping. Finding the baby opens up Jin, and he reveals to Hana a bit of his past, that he previously had a daughter, but she became unwell, and Jin couldn't afford to treat her. Jin's daughter and wife died around the same time, leaving Jin to fall to drunkenness after a con artist assisted him in a plan to obtain the money by arranging a cycling race. The following day, the trio travels to the railway station, where they find a locker by using the number on the locker key. They discover a set of home keys, a phone number for a club, and many business cards inside, but they are unable to contact the owner. They board a light train, but after some time Yuki spotted her father on another train, so she escaped, and she spilled the baby food in the process. Jin and Hana chase Miyuki, with Kyoko in her arms, and they continue to stroll down the railroad lines as it begins to snow. Kyoko feels hungry and begins to weep, so all of them go in search of food. They arrive at a cemetery and discover a donation of baby goods, which convinces Hana that Kyoko is blessed by God. Outside the cemetery, they discover a high-ranking Yakuza member stuck beneath his car. A Yakuza is a Japanese mafia member. They release him, and he expresses his gratitude by asking what he can do to repay them. They inquire about the address of the club on the card and how to locate the owner. He drives them to the club, where his daughter is marrying the owner. Kyoko is also the name of his daughter. While the Yakuza hunts for his prospective son-in-law, the party helps themselves with food and beverages. Jin is surprised to meet the groom and informs Hana that he is the con artist who planned the cycling race controversy. Meanwhile, Hana informs the taxi service of the kidnapping, and they dispatch the cab driver who kidnapped the contract killer. Jin wants to alert the cops. Hana, on the other hand, wants to find the kidnapped ladies. Jin goes away, leaving Hana to find the ladies on her own. After a while, he comes upon an elderly homeless man who is dying, and Jin brings him to his camp, where he dies quietly. Jin then discovers a photograph of two towers and compares it to the couple's photograph, and she discovers that the backgrounds are matching. Then, some teenagers arrive and attack Jin and the murdered homeless guy, as well as destroy the area. Jin is badly injured and explores the streets in search of Hana. Hana rushes into the alley when the cab driver drops her off at the killer's house, but she freezes and vomits up blood. She then discovers the ladies to be safe and sound. Hana hugs the body, only to discover that it belongs to an elderly man. Hana brings the two girls to a bar, where she once worked, and introduces them to her mother, who raised her. Jin is also found there, damaged but very well for. Hana and her mother discuss Hana's boyfriend's death, and how Hana left the club after assaulting an exceptionally abusive client. She then tells her mother about the baby, Kyoko, and her mother urges her to continue her search for the parents. Hana looks at the photo of the two buildings while washing laundry and recognizes it right away. The trio boards a train and travels to another part of Tokyo, where the two buildings are located. Jin double-checks the home keys, which operate a single standing door. The next morning, the trio asks Sachiko's neighbors what they know about her, while Miyuki searches the ashes for anything useful, and she discovers a newspaper with her in the missing people section. Her father begs her to return home, and he discusses Angel's reappearance. Sachiko's marriage was problematic, according to her neighbors, and she and her husband fought constantly. Because of the husband's gambling and drunkenness, they finally went bankrupt and were forced to leave the house. Jin and Hana, together with Kyoko, stopped for a break at a store that evening, but they got into a fight with a drunk person. Miyuki dials her father's number, but she is too terrified to speak with him. When she comes back, the group is fighting with the drunken man outside. Suddenly, a rushing ambulance crashes into the store, and Hana praises the Lord for protecting them before collapsing and vomiting blood. Hana is brought to the hospital, and Jin consults with the doctor, who tells him that Hana should rest. Jin explains that they are homeless, but the doctor says he sees all types of people, even the homeless. Miyuki greets Kyoko, the nurse, in the hall, and is surprised to find Jin, her father. The two start up a conversation, and it is revealed that Jin had owned a bicycle business, but he abandoned his family as his gambling and drinking worsened, and the con artist was someone Jin owed money to. Hana becomes furious after understanding that everything Jin had previously told her was a lie, and she criticizes Jin in front of his daughter before leaving Jin with Miyuki and a baby. Miyuki questions Hana on whether criticizing Jin in front of his daughter was the appropriate thing to do, yet Hana believes he will forgive him. She then tells the story of the weeping red devil, who was feared by the people yet wished to befriend them. His blue devil companion devised a plan. He would cause chaos in the community, and the red devil would save them. The strategy succeeded, but the blue devil had to leave for the people, not to think it was a fake. Miyuki is surprised to know that Hana intends to leave the group after Sachiko is found. Back at the hospital, Jin reads a report about a stolen baby who resembles Kyoko. Then Hana and Miyuki save a lady from attempting suicide and find Sachiko. She reveals to them that it was her husband who kidnapped Kyoko when she was away and became depressed. Hana returns Kyoko to Sachiko, but the baby continues to cry. Jin discovers an apartment building and enters one of the flats, which is packed with rubbish and unread mail. He suddenly finds Sachiko's husband among the trash and furiously screams at him for being a terrible father, but the husband tells him that the baby is not his, nor is she Sachiko's. He responds that Sachiko kidnapped the baby and kept her in hope that the police would discover her, although Jin calls him a bad guy for not doing the right thing. Jin boards a bicycle and sets off to find Hana and Miyuki. Everyone, including Hana and Miyuki, pays their respects at the temple for the new year. Jin comes to tell them what he heard from the husband, and they set out to find Sachiko. They trace back Sachiko, who steals a delivery truck to escape. Jin takes a police officer's bicycle, and they go on a wild goose chase. Hana calls down a cab, and the driver knows her, and then they start to chase them. Sachiko smashes the truck into a building when Jin grabs the passenger door. She then grabs Kyoko and goes to the rooftop, chased by Miyuki. Miyuki is stopped in her tracks as Sachiko attempts to commit suicide with Kyoko. Sachiko's husband watches his wife on television and understands what he has done to her and himself. Miyuki inquires as to why Sachiko stole Kyoko. Sachiko reveals that her kid was born dead and that she mistakenly chose Kyoko as a surrogate. Miyuki believes that life is only born once and that people are accountable for their destiny. She pushes Sachiko to return Kyoko, but just as she is ready to jump, her husband reaches out to her, telling her that they can start over. Miyuki stops Sachiko as she walks away, tells her that Kyoko wants to return to her parents, and Sachiko hesitates. Miyuki starts to fall, but Jin holds her, and Sachiko mistakenly drops Kyoko. Hana makes a bold attempt to catch Kyoko by running down the side of the building, but she slides and catches a banner. The banner breaks, sending both of them into the street, but a powerful wind fills the banner and brings Hana and Kyoko down to the ground safely. Kyoko is reunited with her biological parents after a while, and the group is treated in the hospital. Once they've settled down in the hospital, Miyuki hands Jin his pack of cigarettes, dropping his red bag containing all his belongings, revealing a winning lottery ticket. Kyoko's parents want to thank them and ask the trio to be Kyoko's godparents. The police officer in charge of finding Kyoko allows them in and is shocked to see Miyuki there, as he is her father. Kyoko seemingly was a blessed child who brought the best out of the trio, giving them all a second chance at life, bringing our movie to an end. 2 anime recaps per day. One early in the morning to wake you up, and one mid-afternoon to take a break after your work. That's my motto for this channel, so I am counting on you to subscribe and press the bell icon. And if you want me to recap a specific movie, let me know in the comments, I'll make sure to satisfy you. Have a great week, and see you next time, nerds.